What's up, my fellow adult collector? Welcome to SeViLion Collectibles. In this video, I'll be giving you a full review of the brand new Super Shredder from NECA Real Toys based on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. This figure was briefly made available on the NECA Store website, which is how I got mine, but they're also going to be popping up in Walmart stores soon if you haven't seen them already. If you do have to go hunting in Walmart, don't forget that NECA products are displayed in the entertainment section near the movies. If this is your first time landing on my channel, hi, my name is SeViLion, and here I like to discuss action figures and other collectibles based on my favorite movies, TV shows, and video games. If you find this video enjoyable or informative, please give me a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that notification bell. To aid in your potential hunt, here is a shot of the barcode on the bottom of the box. To start this process off, I'm going to give you a good, slow, up and down look at both the front and back of Super Shredder. Right off the bat, this is the most detailed muscle structure sculpt I've seen on any figure ever. Not just NECA, any figure. A lot of pieces of the sculpt have black lines drawn in around each part of the muscle, but there's some places where that black line is not really there and you're just seeing the shadows because of how deep it is. I'll come back to that in a minute, but for now, I want to focus on the details of the head, helmet, and shoulder pads. It all looks incredible. The helmet itself is sculpted very solid, with not a single detail missed. The edges of the helmet are pretty stiff and kind of sharp, but the spikes on the shoulders are softer and more malleable. The same goes for all the spikes on the gauntlet. It's not like you're going to stab yourself multiple times trying to pose this figure. Moving down to the torso, being more zoomed in like this and slowing down, you can kind of see what I was talking about as far as the muscle definition was concerned. The center lines in the sculpt of the abs can be 1 or 2 millimeters deep in some places. Now, whether or not this could be considered realistic, I'm not really that concerned about, because at the end of the day, this is a Ninja Turtles character. Moving on down to the legs though, that same high level of detail is maintained throughout the entirety of the figure. The thigh muscles are incredibly sculpted and painted, as are the shin guards of the armor. Really, just everything about the design of this figure is incredibly well done. Even on the backside, where the cape would be covering up most of the detail at any given time, is still incredibly well done. I do want to take a few seconds to talk about the cape itself. It's made kind of similar to the one from the first Shredder, but it doesn't have the wire, so there's no wide posing or anything like that. But it is bunched up when you first take it out of the package, so it looks like it's not as big and thick as it really is. The top layer has that almost glittery shininess to it, but the inside layer is more of a flat, matte look. Once you get it all stretched and worked out, it can cover the actual shoulder width of the figure, but it won't go over the armor. Shredder does come with 5 extra hands that can be swapped out. 2 of them are just wide open palms, while the others are meant for gripping the accessories. The TGRI munition canister looks really nice and is sculpted and colored very well. The spear also looks really nice, but I don't really remember him having this in the movie. At least not as Super Shredder, he definitely didn't. Either way, I won't really complain too much because it still looks really cool. Next, I'm going to take you through the articulation. Most of it is pretty common for NECA. The neck actually has 2 separate ball joints, one in the head and one in the body, giving a pretty good range of motion all the way around, including, of course, 4 rotations side to side, but the armor is a bit of a hindrance. The shoulders also have 4 rotations, but again, the armor gets in the way. The elbows are double jointed, but not quite in a typical manner. The gap between the 2 joints is pretty significant, with the lower one basically being in the forearm. When you have it rotated, it's not really too distracting, but it can make it seem a little too round on the backside. And just to make sure you do fully understand, both joints can be rotated independently. Similar to the neck, the torso is also on 2 separate ball joints, one just below the chest and one at the waistline, which again creates a great deal of possible motion, plus 4 rotation independently. The hips can spread out pretty far sideways, and yes, Super Shredder is balancing entirely on his own like this. However, he doesn't do quite as well front to back. The knees are double jointed, and there is rotation on that top joint. Along with that, the ankles also have a full range of pivot motion. Unfortunately, those ball joints in the torso are a bit loose. Not quite to the point of not being able to hold a pose, but maybe not exactly where you want it. So by now, you might be asking me, How big is Super Shredder? Well, he's pretty huge. I didn't measure him on screen, but I can tell you that he's about 10 inches from toe to helmet. That is significantly larger than his 1990 counterpart. I do kind of hope that they'll eventually give us a normal shredder from Part 2. That way the transition from regular to super looks a little more consistent. Now, here he is next to the Foot Clan, and then of course next to the Turtles themselves. Just in case you don't actually have any of the Turtles line yourself just yet, I'll go ahead and run them next to some other NECA products like the Christopher Reeve Superman and the Predator. Then I'll move on to some other brands such as Storm Collectibles and Mattel. Wait, no, if I'm gonna do Mattel WWE, then I need to do the one that makes the most sense. For those who may not know, Super Shredder was played by the wrestler Kevin Nash, also known as Diesel. At conventions, he does actually carry around Super Shredder pictures that can be autographed. Back to the comparisons though, here are some Hasbro Marvel Legends, Ghostbusters, and the Power Rangers Lightning Collection. So, with all that said, it's time to run this NECA Real Toys Super Shredder through my guidelines for a complete and fair review. This is a brand new sculpt that is highly detailed and incredibly accurate to this interpretation of the character. It does have more than 20 points of articulation, balances really well, and is in scale with the rest of the line. The package does include several accessories, and the roughly $30 price point is fair. However, being able to find one at retail may not be all that fair, and unfortunately it does suffer from the quality control issues of the loose joints in the torso. Leading my final score to an 8 out of 10 stars, meaning it is excellent and a must own for all fans of the character. So while I don't necessarily advocate going hunting just for this figure in Walmart during a pandemic, I certainly advocate picking it up if you happen to be there already and it's available. I was fully ready to give this figure a 9-star rating had it not been for those loose joints. When it comes to my top 10 list at the end of this year, I'm going to have a very hard time not including Super Shredder in that list. Seriously, if you can find one, it is most definitely worth adding to your collection.